Hello, everyone. I would like to give a bit some explanation about what is a follow-up advocate within Norma, follow-up advocate or a shifter. So in fact, this is a big role in Norma because it helps to notify telescopes team when there is a gravitational wave addict and to help them for pointing the telescopes at the correct location over the sky. So as a follow-up advocate of shifter, you need to guarantee that the alert has been well received and that they are performing good observation for the best scientific return of gravitational astronomy. So to achieve this, in Roma, we have established like 24 hours and 7 days schedule that in fact is divided into 4 slots. So as a follow-up advocate, you operate during a week from Thursday to Thursday, doing 6 hours, and then there is someone else that operates 6 hours, and 6 hours, and 6 hours. So you have also a weekly coordinator that he helps to guide you. He's like kind of mentor. So the first task is a different task. And the first task is the gravitational wave alert, which means that you need to better determine whether or not it is a high-profile alert or not. Because you will perform different action if it is extremely important or if it is just like routine gravitational wave alerts and we expect not so good scientific return compared to high profile. So how to determine that the gravitational wave alert is high profile? So number one, you need first to understand if the source is astrophysical or not, because sometimes the detector sends you some alerts, but in fact it has nothing to do with sky, it's just noise. So you need to make sure that it is astrophysical. Second point is to make sure, to check if it is a coalescence of a binary of two neutron stars or neutron star and a black hole, because this is where we expect light coming, and so optical signature. Number three, you need also to check whether or not the event is close, far away. If it is close, below 200 megaparsec, then it is high profile. Number four is to see if to check in fact the size of the sky localization area. If it is below 200 degrees square, then it means that it is also high profile. So to ponder this degree square, we can also see if it has been detected by 1 interferometer, 2 or 3 interferometer. So we will provide you some kind of score automatic from 1 to 3. 3 is like very extremely interesting, and 1 is it is a gravitational alert, but it is you that is in charge to understand whether or not it is high profile or not. So how you're gonna receive this alert via Slack and the Skype portal, maybe by your phone, it's up to you. And this platform, called Skype portal, is hosted at EGSLab. So now, task number 2 is notify, so put a paper, notify telescopes team. So what does it mean, notify telescopes team? Because in fact, telescopes team has already maybe have already received the alerts automatically and the pointing, but we need to guarantee that they have received it and they're starting to observe if it is nighttime right now to them. So after evaluating like how it is interesting, you need to correspond with the telescopes team. So the telescopes team and you are going to exchange in the Roma track channel observation. And in fact, you can delay your communication to a team that, for example, it is daytime, for example, in France, because there is no need to start prompt observation of the alerts. But for teams, so if it is daytime in French, which means that it can be nighttime in China or in Australia, and then you need to make sure that they have started observation, because we want first observation as fast as possible. You also need to take into account, the observability condition per telescopes, which means that sometimes it is night, but they cannot observe the source because it is too low compared to the horizon, or it is, so the best sources are only reachable at the time, or it is not, it's raining, or things like this. So in fact, you need to reconcile, when you contact telescope team, how many pointings they can observe, how many observations they can make regarding the properties of the gravitational alert, and how it is urgent to perform observation. And when you have evaluated situation, you can ping the team via Slack. And you can even call them, welcome them to everything, so that, if it is urgent, you need to be there. That's why there is a strict, 24 hours to make sure that the one that we need urgent observation is starting to observe. And it is essential to report in SkyPortal everything in the logbook on SkyPortal, because then we need to have some feedback about the history and so on and so forth. And you also need to report to the next colleagues that will contact other teams when it will be nighttime. So sometimes you will receive also, in the meantime that you're operating this task 2, a message from the LVK that finally is not astrophysical. So you need to send to all team, yes, stop observation because it's not astrophysical. And so you can do it via Skype. So the rules for contacting a telescope's team is to contact them just before the night, so around 6 p.m. at their local time. So sometimes you just don't need just to wait like this. There is a gravitational wave alert. You need maybe to do something from the previous alert that have the other shifter has done. So this is really a teamwork. Okay. So task 3. So where is my paper? Yeah. Task 3 is about image, which means that your task consists on once telescope team are starting to observe, to make sure that they have uploaded the image in our upload or in our SkyPortal, and that the image have the correct name and the correct format. So why? Because then we will, we can rerun the analysis to understand the brightness of the source, etc., etc. So it needs to be in the good format and need to be there. So the telescope team have 24 hours from the observation to upload the image in OnCloud or in SkyPortal. You need also to guarantee that they also give you the photometric results, not only the image, the photometric results. For the citizen science, you don't need to ask them on photometry or how you perform, but otherwise they need to upload the photometric results. So for this part is a bit tough, so you can ask again assistant to the weekly coordinator. So now the task number 4 is there. So task number 4 is about transients. This is means the toughest task as a follow-up advocate, because what you need to know is that it's not only about there is a gravitational wave and we start observation, we have image, maybe we detect new sources that can be the gravitational counterpart, and the job is done. No, because once the first step has been done, which is scanning is the localization error box, then we need to find candidates. And this candidate can be either the gravitational wave counterpart or the other things like supernova or minor planet or burst, starburst, etc., etc. So we need to define which one finally is the gravitational wave counterpart and which are the other contaminants. And to do that, we need to point again the telescopes on these candidates. And so what is your task? Your task is to ask, to look at SkyPortal, to look at all the different sources, and to ask some targeted observation to the team. In parallel, you are looking at what the other people are doing outside of Grandma, because they also perform gravitational follow-up, and they will also detect transients. And so maybe you will point some of the Grandma telescopes to the transient from external team. So to do that, you will use some external tool like GCN, like you will scan the report by other team. And you will also make point the telescopes to our Grandma one. So really your task is to guide the astronomer to point the telescopes at the right location for that transient. So your final task is to produce a report to the community via GCN, but also a report to Grandma to see what happened, etc., etc. In this report, you need to show which observation have been made. Do we detect transients, something like can be the kilonova or the GRB associated to the gravitational alert? Or if we did not detect anything, what is the sensitivity of our observation? We need also to report there the photometry from the transient sources, the quantitate, whether or not it is varying, whether or not it is not. This report will be done with the 3 other shifter and with the help of the weekly coordinate. So let me remind that task 1 is gravitational alert. Wonder if it is urgent to trigger telescopes or not. Number 2, notify observers, either for rapidly scanning the localization blocks, either to point telescopes of interesting sources. Number 3 is to make sure that all the images are in encode and in SkyPortal to enable the scientific exploitation from this campaign. Number 4 is to filter the candidates to select the one that can be the gravitational wave counterpart. And the final task is the report. So thank you. If you have questions, of course, you can email me as always.